Hello to all my Orthodox brothers. It's Joseph at JohnTheHutDweller. I just watched a program and I was kind of shocked that somebody brought this up because I rarely ever hear this. There was a debate between Shmuley Boteach and a guy named Michael Brown. I never heard of Michael Brown, but I know Shmuley Boteach pretty well through his writings and speeches on TV and debates, even debates with Christopher Hitchens. Um, what Michael Brown said that really worked, everything else I didn't agree with him, so I wound up liking the first half of the debate, quasi debate. It was on Lee Strobel show, and I really don't like that guy. And then the next half, I put thumbs down. What he said in the beginning that I liked was, you know, there was from the book of Daniel we can see there's only a short period of time where this Messiah figure could come. And remember, the Messiah, I mean, we look back and we see things like what Eve, or what God says to Eve about, you shall bruise his heel and he will bruise your head. And we look back and we see these things as messianic. But where it was really blatant was in the late prophets. Isaiah, through to Malachi, we see references to Messiah. We don't really see that in with Elijah or anybody before. So there was a space of time, and they calculated between 100 BC and about 100 to 200 AD, AD 200. So I don't understand what the Jews do about that, because there was such fervor throughout Jerusalem, the Galilee, everywhere. All these places. Uh, and you have many messiahs, Bar Kokhba, Alphaeus, many, many, many. Some people even thought the Mandaeans, John the Baptist. So we see all these groups. There was even Samaritan Messiah. And one thing that the Protestant can't answer, which Mike Brown is a Protestant Messianic Jew, which means just Protestant, is when Shmuley Boteach says, well, there's supposed to be an ingathering of all the Jews from around the world. They didn't fulfill that. Well, Michael Brown was silent on that. He said, oh, we'll fulfill that next time. I don't see that. If you look at where the apostles went and where Christianity was the biggest, where was Christianity the biggest? Alexandria and Rome. Those are the two biggest populations of Jews in the world during the first century. We see the apostles going to Persia, India, all the way to southern France. We see Irenaeus and Leon, all over North Africa, Augustine, Cyprian. So all the Jews, I mean, those are the people who did. I mean, it flashed across the world. I mean, we saw it in southern England, in northern India by the end of the first century. So it did reach everybody, and the Jews who would accept Christianity already accepted Christianity. Um, this thing that comes afterward, this is why I really don't recognize it as Judaism, because they form their canon in reaction to the Christian canon. And many of their laws they did in reaction. They said, oh, well, the Talmud says this anyway. Well, you can't write something down 160 years after Jesus died and said, oh, but we really had this before. Don't you think some of his teachings slipped in? I know there's many Jews that believe that there's still a prayer said in the synagogues, and they attribute it to Simon Peter. And there's a whole alternative gospel supposedly written by Simon Peter, where he's kind of a double agent for the Jews. I think it's called Todet Yashu or Yeshu, which is what the Jews call Jesus Yeshu. They don't say Yeshua. I've heard it's kind of a slam, but I don't know. I don't speak modern Hebrew. And the Orthodox can say, yeah, we are one in unity. We've brought the light. Protestants, they keep rebuilding their faith every generation. They can't say that. But he was right about one thing. That when we read the Bible, we don't say this is a messianic prophecy, this isn't. And what about the suffering servant? I mean, taking what Maimonides said and saying, well, this has to apply to Messiah after the Jews had rejected Christ for about 1,000 years, I think is a little silly. It's after the fact. It's like, it's like anything. I mean, you could say, "Oh, the president of the United States was Barack Obama." Well, he didn't fulfill this or this. It's like you're looking back after the fact. I can look back after the fact in anything and just make up different things or pull other things out of context because it's right. We don't have, okay, this is a messianic prophecy. This isn't. This has to do with it. This. It's all through interpretation. And for those who say Jesus was a Pharisee, I don't debate them. Um, I've even said that before in the past. I don't know how much I'm going to say it in the future, but there is all a school of Pharisees that shifted into Christianity. To say that there's no, I mean, we not only have apostolic succession back to Christ, but there's a very heavy Israelite link. I mean, as if Christianity came out of paganism and didn't emerge fully out of Judaism and then spread to the Gentiles. It seems very silly. I don't know if Christians and Jews should debate each other. I don't know why. The Jews have already made up their mind. They can investigate Christianity, but as I said in the past, there are some people who refuse to read the New Testament because they think it's witchcraft, but yet they wield such strong opinions against it. It's silly. And people say, well, I got one reason, it's the Holocaust. You can't keep doing that. I mean, that's all the fault. The reason why they wouldn't want to read the New Testament in 1840 is because of the Holocaust? No, the hostility existed long before. And I simply want to ask why. Now, the other guy, my Jewish friend, under Skoptitcher Rebbe, good, honest guy. I'm not going to convince him of Christianity. That's not the point of this channel. It's to talk about orthodoxy. Just something that's part of my life. But yeah, I really think when the Jews try to say, well, he's not the Messiah, kind of have to cock your head and kind of smirk. Okay. Because, yeah, they're going to have different ideas of what the Messiah is because they are after the fact. Their talk of the Messiah is after the fact of what things he needs to fulfill. And like I said in previous videos, the Sadducees had a different view of Messiah than the Pharisees, different from the Zealots, and of the Essenes, very cryptic writing. So some of what Michael Brown said I agree with, but on the other hand, kind of like what Shmuel Boteach says, he attacks original sin. We don't like original sin. It's kind of fun when you can both agree and disagree with somebody, but I guess that will happen by anybody. I mean, if a Muslim watched that, he'd probably agree with some and not the other. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up again. Is the Messiah late?